Good afternoon, everyone. It's Tonya Williams in the Division of Child Care. Just want to welcome you to our provider call today. I know we'll have folks joining us probably for the next few minutes, but I know that all of you are incredibly busy and I don't want to take up more of your precious time than we have to. Welcome to December and the holidays. You know, I just want to say this to everyone. Besides, thank you for all the incredible work you do for children. Remember that the holidays represent a lot of different things for people. And I'm reminded every day with my own staff that, you know, for some of us, it can be a very joyous, if we have a small child in our lives, it can be a very joyous occasion. But for some people, it can be can bring on a lot of mental health challenges. So let's just all be really kind to one another. Let's just try to practice that. For the entire month of December, to really be kind. There are people, like I said, I'm reminded each day here, I have staff who are really carrying some really big loads and they keep doing their work, and many of you would never know that. So like them, I realize that you probably are also carrying equally big loads. So we're just going to practice kindness. We have a full agenda. I am going to let you guys know right up front, I have a 12:30 meeting in the director's office, so I'm going to have to hop off, and I hate doing that. I always love being here through the end of this call, but I'm going to be on as long as I can. You've got some really great information coming your way, and I don't want to be in the way of that. The first thing I want to start with is if you have concerns, please make us your first point of contact if it relates to the Division of Child Care. You know, social media is a great platform for a lot of good things, but please know that we really want to help you. We're here to help you. We are public servants. That's part of our job. And so we can't help you if we don't know. And if you're reaching out to someone, it's possible they're not here. So go to someone else, go to that next person. I am putting my email address and my assistant, Kayla Bryson, who's on the call, in the chat box.
Hi, Tonya, you unmuted yourself.
Sorry. I don't know. I keep doing that. Doggone on it. Yes, so I'm going to make sure it gets in the chat box in just a second. I'm trying to talk and do multiple things, and that's not good. My staff know that's not a good idea for me. So next thing on the list, you're going to get some updates on American Rescue Plan Act funding from Tom and team, and it's very exciting. For those of you who haven't been paid yet, a lot of people have been, and they're going to give you all that information. I just want to point out this. Please note that you should not expect your payment on the 5th or the 20th. That is when we send it over to the Department of Finance Administration if it is a work day for state government. So if it's a holiday, or if the 5th falls or 20th falls on the weekend, then it will be the next business working day. Just be aware of that. We transmit it over to the Department of Finance Administration. Thank you, Kayla. And they will start processing your payment. And that all hinges on your bank routing information and a lot of things. So we will try to help you track it as best we can. But once it leaves our agency, it's going into this other processing. So I don't want people to be confused. We are trying to hit the 5th and 20th to get it over to DFA for processing, but it's not going to get into your bank account necessarily that day. It could be a couple of days depending on your bank routing. Regarding CRSA funding, we are trying to sort of drill down into some data. So I just wanted to share with you very briefly. We have roughly $9 million still showing as available, but we are also equally showing about $6.5 million of essential worker childcare billing that has not been billed. We're trying to drill in. We think that could be an error, but if we discover that we actually have, you know, close to the 9 million available, we will try to do the last maintenance payment that we had talked about as a fourth payment. If we actually do have essential childcare billing, I cannot make a maintenance payment. We will have to reserve that for the billing. We do not have other funds that can cover the essential workers. It cannot be utilized in the American Rescue Plan Act. It can only be used from the time frame that the legislature approved, which I believe was September 22nd, 21st or 22nd. So we can't go back. So we're trying to reconcile all that. I'm hoping we can do that very quickly and get a payment before the end of the month if the funding is available. If we do have billing that hasn't, yes, thank you, Tom. Please bill timely. But we are drilling into that. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. I'm trying to get an answer for you, and we want to get it done as quickly as possible. I am probably going to have in January on our next call, or it possibly February, but I'm hoping January, to have someone, maybe Dr. Tummelson, who's been our guest for the past year and a half from the Department of Health, talk about the new variant, Omicron, Omicron, just to give us some updates. So just wanted you to be aware of that for our next call. And then I know that we're going to hear from, I believe, for Becky Mitchell is going to talk about this, but I just want to make a little plea here. If you're going to be using American Rescue Plan Act funds for your playgrounds, love that idea. If you need to update, upgrade important things to your playground, please make sure you check with your licensing staff. Please work with your licensing staff. I would hate for you to expend a lot of money on something that doesn't meet the licensing requirements. And there are many, many things within those standards regarding safe playgrounds. So please work with your licensing staff for anybody that's planning to submit playground enhancements, updates. Becky will talk a little bit more about that. Encourage you to work with those staff, but I specifically wanted to address playgrounds and make sure that you're connecting with them on that. So I'm going to stop there. We do have just a small number of programs closed. It has been zero. Hurrah. This last month, we hit zero 2 or 3 days. So we have a few right now, and I think it's 6 total. They're intermittent closures. So it's been pretty low, continues to be low. We do still have deep cleaning funds through CRSA, and we will continue to have that portion for the duration of that funding. So we will continue to have that available. But I'm going to toss it over. I believe Brandy Ishmon is going to talk about essential worker applications. So I'm going to hang out for a little bit. I'll try to monitor the chat box, and if I see some questions that I can answer, I'll try to take care of it. I wish you all a happy holiday season and just an exciting new year to come. We'll see what announcements come in the new year. So thank you all so much for everything that you're doing, and continue to be safe.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Just wanted to go over a few quick bullet points for our essential worker applications. Wanted to let you all know we are still processing all of the essential worker redeterminations that were sent in. Our goal is to have all of that completed on or before December 31st. If you have families who you don't see the additional authorization for yet, when I say the additional authorization, the one that starts from January to April, please don't panic and do not ask them to submit the form again. It is possible if they have submitted it, we have it, we just have not gotten to them yet. When they submit it over and over, it just slows us down because we have several duplicates in the box that we have to work through. So if your families tell you that they have submitted it, please do not ask them to submit it again. When your families are contacted for additional information, if the caseworkers need something additional for them, they will contact your families directly. Please encourage your families to send that information directly back to that case manager who contacted them. Do not resubmit it to the essential worker redetermination email box. It needs to go back to the case manager that asked the family for it. I also want to echo my teammates in saying, please make sure that you're billing timely. I saw one message in the chat about is monthly okay? Yes, monthly is fine. I would encourage you to do it even sooner than that. If you could, weekly would be preferred, but at least monthly. So please make sure that you're billing timely, and just contact us if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Brandy. So now I am excited to share with you all what is going on with the American Rescue Plan Act. I think most of you all know me. I'm Paige Cox, and just like Tonya said earlier, I want to encourage you all, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I am here to help you, and I will definitely put my contact information in the chat box in a moment. But first, I want to start with the good news. The great news actually is that we have received 1,121 applications for grant funding, either well, it's actually a combination between operational and quality grants. And of those, we've already approved 844, which is about 75% of all of the applications that we've received. Right now, and this data is as of yesterday afternoon, there are 277 applications that have been submitted that are with our review team. So in case you didn't know, when you submit an application, it goes through a two-step review process. So it's first reviewed by one of our grant coordinators, and those are the folks who've been reaching out to you or who've been providing assistance, or who may reach out to you if they need additional information. And then once they're satisfied and have been able to review and approve your application, then it goes on to another team. So I just want to say thank you for all of the team who has been on board to support this. I think the fact that this is a new process and we have 75% approved, and more importantly, over $24 million. $24 million, guys, that we didn't even know we would be getting, is going out to support children and families. Yay, yay for us. It is so exciting. And the great news is that there is still funding available. So I implore you all to please apply for this funding and use it to make a difference in your facility and for the parents and children that you serve, the families that you serve. We still have a lot of providers who have not stepped forward to apply, and we encourage you. We've got the money available, and we know you can use it to do great things. I do want to share one thing, because I do receive telephone calls from folks asking how to spend the money. And so I thought I would just share my screen very quickly and show you all. Let's see, I'm going to not choose a video filter, or I'm going to, I don't know if it's going to let me share my screen. Let me look one more place. Share screen. Okay. So guys, I am going to move everything out of the way. I'm going to share my screen. This is in our application system. This is a chart just to give you an idea of what types of things people are requesting funding for. So, for example, over $4 million has been earmarked for curriculum resources. And then over here for furniture. And then we've got folks who are using money for minor renovations and for personnel expenses. And this is actually a combination of both. I know it says operational payment at the top, but this is really a combination of our operational and quality. And we've approved more operational. We're just now starting to approve the quality funding. So the personnel cost, we anticipate that the chart's going to shift, and you'll end up seeing more funding probably over here in some of these other categories. But we are just excited for this opportunity. Again, please feel free to reach out to me for questions. I'll put my contact information and that of some of our team members in the chat. And I think Tom is next, and he's going to elaborate even more on this great data. Tom.
Sorry, I was trying to get unmuted here. So, couple of things that I want to make sure that we cover. First of all, a couple of issues on getting applications approved. And I want to make sure that I cover that so everyone can be working on any of those issues. The first is if your licensing fees are not up to date, we cannot approve any more grants without the licensing fee being up to date. So if you're not sure, contact your licensing specialist and make sure that those licensing fees are up to date in our system. The second thing, I know we mentioned this last month or the month before last, is that if you are incorporated through the Secretary of State, that has to be current on their website before we can approve any grants. So make sure that you are current on your website. In a moment, I'm going to ask Rachel to cover one of the other issues on being set up as a vendor. But let me talk about deadlines too for apply, because we've said all along there's not any deadlines to apply. However, the reality is that all of this money has to be obligated out by September the 30th, 2022. So we will be looking at the end of April. At the end of April, we'll be running a report to see who has applied, who hasn't applied, and what monies are left to be sub-granted out to providers. At that point, if you've not applied for your grants in April, then we'll be taking the total amount and we'll be redistributing those based on the number of facilities that are applying so that we can spend these federal dollars in the state of Arkansas. We do not want any federal dollars to be going back to the feds when we could actually utilize them in Arkansas. So there's not an actual deadline to apply, but I will say if you've not applied by April the 30th for both the quality grants and the operational grants in particular, we will be redistributing the funds that we have set aside for those two grant programs. So, of course, then we have mentioned over and over again that Better Beginnings Level 2 deadline is June 30th in order to continue to receive vouchers. The reality is, folks, is every facility are going to have to reach the quality levels, especially we're looking, and I know Tonya hasn't addressed this, but if we're looking at Build Back Better being passed, it has a quality component in that. And the goal is to have everyone reach those quality components. And the deadline that we have to keep in mind is that June the 30th deadline. So these quality grants are there to help you reach that Better Beginnings Level 2 so that you can even be prepared for the next stage of childcare, whatever that may be, depending on what is passed through the Build Back Better. Finally, let me talk to you quickly about the expansion grants that are be opening up in January. There'll be a little more specific and a little more information that we will have to approve these expansion grants. We'll be looking at such things as non-standard hours of care. We'll be looking at, of course, infant and toddler slots. We'll be looking at underserved areas. So when you start thinking about your expansion grants, there'll have to be a component in that grant that you'll have to show us that there is a level of need for that expansion in your area. There's also a need to expand for disabilities and disabled children. We'll be looking at those things. It will require a licensing visit from your license specialist to make sure that your facility is able to meet the number of children that you're wanting to expand to. So there's a lot of things that you need to start preparing now to get ready for those January openings of those grants, like even writing yourself out a plan of how you plan to expand, where you plan to expand at. Are you going to use existing classrooms that you're going to expand in? Are you going to add classrooms that you're going to expand to? Are you going to expand into another location? And what does that look like? I'm encouraging you right now to write up those plans so that you are prepared when we go to those expansion grants and open those up, that you can apply for those, because there's going to be a lot of different levels that we'll be looking at on those expansion grants. Finally, the last thing that I really want to talk about is if you need help on any of these grants. And I know Rachel's going to put our information in there again. Contact Paige Cox, as she has already stated. Contact Nicole Tarkington. Contact Rachel Machen, or even contact myself. I keep telling folks, we need to be your first line of defense in getting this information out. Don't depend on Facebook. You can put all kinds of things in Facebook and we'll never know about it, or we'll not be able to answer those questions. But if you contact us directly, we'll provide you the information and the help and the assistance to get this grant money out to you. We want you to have these grant money. We want you to be able to expand. We want you to increase in quality. That is our major focus. So let us be your first contact. I keep saying there's no wrong door to get into DCC ECE. Even if you contact your licensing specialist, tell them to send us a note. Send one of us a note so that we'll know that you need assistance or you need help. So I would appreciate that. I sent a ticket to open my grant. Did you send that to Paige Cox? Did you send that to myself? If you send it into the system, then they should be contacting you, but also let us know as well so that we can assist you with that. And with that, I'm sure we'll be answering a lot of other questions, but we're going to turn it over to Rachel to talk to you about another hindrance that we have come across, and that is being set up as a vendor. Rachel, if you could take over for a moment for me.
Sure thing. Good afternoon, guys. I just want to reiterate what everyone else has said. Thank you for providing care to Arkansas's tiniest. So we have had a handful of providers when we have gone to actually make a payment that it has bounced back and told us that that provider is not set up as a vendor with us. So if that is the situation for your facility, you would have received an email from Tyra Gillum with information on how to become a vendor. And I would like to reiterate on that correspondence predominantly is coming via email. So after we make a payment, if you are not a vendor, we will reach out to you. So if you don't receive any correspondence from us, then likely it is that you are set up as a vendor in our system. However, if Tyra emails you those forms, then we need those back as quickly as possible so that we can get you set up to get paid through the next payment, because otherwise we have no idea where to send that funding. If you guys have any questions on how to become a vendor or you need any information, feel free to contact myself or Tyra. I'll put our information in the chat. And we are going to work as quickly as possible, or Tyra, I should say, she's fantastic. We'll work as quickly as possible once we do get your information in to go ahead and get you set up. And I want to reiterate what my coworkers have said. Please let us be your first line of defense. We are receiving a lot of phone calls these days, but if you miss us for any reason, please leave us as detailed a voicemail as you can so that we can go ahead and have a good idea of what we need to talk about when we call you back, and we will call you back. And if you email us, we will do our very best to respond to you as quickly as possible. And with that, I'm going to toss it back over to Tom.
So I see a couple of questions. Is there a deadline for centers to have the money spent? There is a deadline for September the 30th, 2023, that all this money has to be spent for these grant monies. So that's that date. Shoot me an email if there's any others that I need to answer.
Tom, just to clarify, because I see there's a couple of questions about that. The state agency has our own deadline for obligating and expenditures, but the final expenditures for these funds is September 30th, 2023. that is for the quality, that is for all of the stabilization. And that's what we're talking about today. So your operations, your quality improvement, and your expansion, those are all in the stabilization side. So September 30, 23. Oh gosh, Tiffany, that's a great question. I am not a tax expert. If you would, I would encourage all of you to seek out, your tax accountant, your CPA regarding tax questions. We unfortunately are not qualified to answer, and every organization would be different because of how you're set up. So if you have a specific question, you can certainly email Tom or myself and we'll see if we can help track it down. But unfortunately, I really want to be clear that that is not our area of expertise. And I think we're ready for the next slide, Brenda. And I'm going to hop off, gang. I appreciate all of you. And I will see you in January.
Right, everybody. Well, my name is Becky Mitchell, and I'm so excited that I get to talk today because normally I'm the kind of the behind the scenes person here, making sure you guys are all admitted into Zoom and we get the PowerPoint together and then we get it up on YouTube. So yeah, I get to speak with you all today. Kind of just speaking along those lines before I get to the information on the slide in front of you, please, childcare providers, share this link out to all of your staff there. We would love to see more people participating in this provider call. There's a lot of great information here. This Zoom can hold up to 1,000 people. And man, that would be great if we could reach that many people in one of these calls. So please share it out to your staff. But talking about licensing, there's a couple of points that we just want to bring up with you. I know that Tonya already brought up this first part here about work with your licensing specialist when you're using that grant funds, especially when it comes to your playground items. We just want to make sure like that they can double check all the licensing regs for you. Just make sure everything is good to go and safe for those kids. So really just use them as a resource as you're making those large purchases with the grant fund, especially those playground items. And I think it's kind of funny because I have on that slide there, like they're happy to help. And that seems to be the moral of our call today, because we kind of keep saying that. DCCEC, we're so happy to help you guys. Let us be thinking partners for you. Let us help you answer those questions. Just reach out to us. There's a whole great team here. We'd love to help you. The other point I've got up here is about your childcare license annual fees. We've seen a couple instances of those funds are kind of getting mailed to the wrong place. Like they may be getting mailed to your licensing specialist, or some people are just coming into central office to drop off those payments. We do need to make sure though that they go to that address that's listed right there. And this address is on the notification that you get. Starting in January 1st, we're not going to be accepting those payments at the Division of Childcare anymore. They all are going to have to go to that childcare provider fund, which is our financial department here at DHS. So we will be sending those back if they're mailed improperly. So just go ahead, double check your address and make sure you're sending it to the right place. That way we'll make sure we process those payments just nice and quick for you. And that is all I've got for you today. I think I'm passing the baton to Kayla.
Thanks, Becky. I'm just jumping on to remind everyone that we are having our monthly background check training for childcare providers. It will be December 30th from 12 to 1. If you do not currently have the link to that, my email is up on the slide and I will put it in the chat box. Please email me and I will share the Zoom link for you. You can add it to your calendar for every month. These are the last Thursday of the month. So please share with any other providers, like Becky said, if they are not on this call and you think that they would benefit for training in the background check system, share with any peers, other facilities, your staff. We would be happy to have them on our live training. It will be recorded and posted to our website as well. So everyone have a great rest of your Tuesday.
So I believe our next call is January the 4th, 2022. A couple of things that I want to close out with. One, I truly want to thank you all for your service to our children, and truly want to wish you guys all a very, very happy holiday. We still have, for our close, we still have a large portion of children, facilities who have yet to apply for the grants, the operational grants or the quality grants. If you guys could be our ears and our mouthpiece, call your friends and your neighbors and say, have you applied? Call your coworkers. Have you applied for this grant yet? And encourage them to apply so that they can receive the benefit of this money. That would be so great for you to help us out. I know that we have, and with our team, we have made calls to every facility that qualified. We have made more than one call. We've sent emails to every facility. If you feel like you've not been notified and you are not sure whether you qualify for a grant, give us a call. We'll help you out. But also tell all of your coworkers, your friends that are out there in the childcare world that this money is available and have them contact us. With that, thank you all very, very much for your time. Do I have any information on required audits? I do not have any information on required audits at this time. We will cover that next month, okay? And I think that's all I have. Goodbye, folks. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.